Eric Clapton, a man whose name is etched into the very heart of rock history. For decades, he's been called God by fans and fellow musicians alike, a guitarist whose emotion could flow through a single bend or a whisper of vibrato. But behind that calm British demeanor lies a man who's seen it all: the birth of blues rock, the rise of guitar heroes, and the endless evolution of the sound he helped define. And now, at 78, Clapton has finally spoken about a band that shook the very foundations of rock itself, Led Zeppelin. For years, he rarely commented on them, even though they emerged from the same scene that once surrounded Cream and the Yardbirds. But when he finally did, his respect was undeniable. These are the 5 Led Zeppelin songs that Eric Clapton calls his absolute favorites, tracks that, in his words, redefined what a guitar could say. 1. Whole Lotta Love, 1969. When Clapton first heard Whole Lotta Love, he said it felt like an earthquake through the speakers. The sheer weight of Jimmy Page's guitar tone, paired with Robert Plant's haunting vocals, changed what people thought a rock song could sound like. Clapton once admitted, "That riff, it was primitive and perfect. It had the swagger of blues, but the power of something entirely new." He loved how the song took the old blues roots, the same ones Clapton had built his career on, and blew them up into something cinematic. The psychedelic middle section, the swirling echoes, and the raw energy made it one of Zeppelin's defining anthems. Clapton often said that while Cream explored freedom through improvisation, Zeppelin made control sound wild. They built a wall of sound you couldn't climb, only admire, too. Since I've Been Loving You, 1970. Few songs hit Clapton's soul like this one. From the opening note, you can hear Jimmy Page and Clapton share a common language. The blues Clapton once described Since I've Been Loving You as a masterclass in emotional phrasing. He said it was the kind of song that reminded him why he picked up the guitar in the first place. The slow, aching bends, the dynamics, and the way Page's tone almost weeps. It was everything Clapton admired in guitar playing. He even compared it to his own song, Have You Ever Loved a Woman?, saying that both tracks came from the same place. Pain turned into beauty. Clapton said, Jimmy played with agony and elegance at the same time. That's rare. You can't teach that. 3. Kashmir, 1975. For Clapton, Kashmir wasn't just a song. It was a journey. He called it one of the most ambitious and haunting pieces ever written by a rock band. Unlike the blues-rooted songs of early Zeppelin, Kashmir felt like something ancient and spiritual. Clapton once said, It's not a guitar song, it's a world. Jimmy built a landscape. He admired how Page created tension through those hypnotic chords, and how Bonham's drumming felt like thunder rolling through a desert. Even though it wasn't about flashy solos, Clapton respected the song for its structure and emotional weight. He said, That's the kind of song every musician wishes they could write once. Something eternal. Ramble On, 1969. Ramble On showed Clapton something he truly valued: balance. It was a song that merged tenderness and power, melody and grit. Clapton admired the acoustic textures and the way Page layered the guitars to sound both intimate and enormous. He once remarked, That's how you know Jimmy wasn't just a guitarist. He was a producer of emotion. Clapton also connected deeply with the lyrics, the longing, the restlessness, the search for meaning that defined the late 60s. He said it reminded him of life on the road during his own early tours with Cream, when fame was both freedom and prison. To Clapton, Ramble On captured the essence of the musician's journey, always moving, always searching, never quite arriving. Stairway to Heaven, 1971, and finally, the inevitable masterpiece. Clapton's relationship with Stairway to Heaven has always been complex. He once joked, If I had written that, I would have retired right after. But behind the humor was deep respect. He admired the song's structure, how it evolved patiently from a whisper to a storm, the gentle acoustic opening, the poetic lyrics, and then that unforgettable solo. To Clapton, it represented perfection in storytelling through sound. He said, Jimmy's solo on Stairway isn't about speed or showmanship. It's about arrival. It's the sound of a man finding the truth in his guitar. Clapton acknowledged that Stairway had become larger than music itself, a kind of symbol for the magic of the era. He once said, "It's the song that made millions pick up a guitar and probably made just as many give it up." Looking back, Clapton on Zeppelin and Page. Though their paths often ran parallel, Clapton and Jimmy Page shared history. Both played with the Yardbirds. Both loved the blues. But while Clapton pursued purity and restraint, Page chased grandeur and mystery. Clapton has said, "Jimmy took what we all loved about the blues and painted it on a much bigger canvas." I respected that immensely. Over the years, rumors of rivalry surfaced, but Clapton always brushed them aside. He admired Page's fearlessness, his willingness to break rules and invent new ones. In one rare interview, Clapton summed it up best. Led Zeppelin weren't just loud, they were beautiful. There's poetry in that noise. And Jimmy Page, he made the guitar sound like a whole orchestra. Today, at 78, Clapton looks back on that era with gratitude more than competition. He's seen music change countless times, but Led Zeppelin, he says, remains untouchable. Those 5 songs, Whole Lotta Love, Since I've Been Loving You, Kashmir, Ramble On, and Stairway to Heaven, still remind him what rock was meant to be. A collision of heart, soul, and sheer power. Clapton once said, "We all came from the same fire. Zeppelin just burned in a different color." If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us here on Legend Uncovered, where the untold truths of rock's greatest legends come alive again, because sometimes even the gods of guitar bow their heads in respect to the thunder of Led Zeppelin.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.